When you're marketing yourself, you always want to think about how you could be a game changer. A chef, in order to remain relevant in the industry, needs to have some sort of presence on social media and understand who they are and their own personal brand. And you can talk about the bigger brand, which is maybe your restaurant or the business that you work for. But the smaller brand, the individual brand, is who you are. What image do you want to portray to the world? What do you want the world to know about you? How do you want them to relate to you? With regards to developing your own brand, I think you need to find out who you are and you need to be able to tell that story to others. And it needs to be a story that people can relate to. Give them a little bit about you that people would say, aha, I could relate to that. And then hopefully that will translate into your restaurant. People will want to come in to understand you. I think early on when I started to experience social media, I recognized that it was about the food and people putting up food pictures, and people were really excited when I was putting up a food picture. But then after a while, people didn't seem too excited about putting a plate of food up. So if I put a picture of myself, it seemed to get a little bit more engagement. So then I recognized, okay, I needed to mix it up a little bit and tell a little bit of my story with a little bit of the story of the food, with a little bit of the story of the team that I work with. And that's where I started to see an increase in engagement. The behind the scenes look is really what people want to see. They want to have a connection with you. But with that being said, how your brand looks, make sure you're consistent with your brand. Don't go too far off script. People begin to expect something from you because they tune in for that channel. And when the show changes, they're going to say, that's not the show I was tuning in for. It went a different way, and you might lose some audience members. I think in order to break through some of the noise that you see on social media is you have to be different. And I know that's easier said than done, but you have to find something that differentiates you, your own individual brand, or your restaurant or business's brand that is unique to you, because people are always looking for the new. They're always looking for the unique. And there's a lot of copycats out there and people doing the same thing. So if you come with original content, I think that's when you start to become an innovator. And the people that innovate with new original things, eventually those things become copied, and other people will see, okay, that person is doing something that's getting attention. So I want some of that attention. So I'll start doing some of that. You constantly have to reinvent yourself a little bit, but you have to stay true to your core values and to your brand identity. And you could tweak little things here and there on your social media platform. I like to go left if everyone's going right. So what I mean by that, for example, is if on social media, everyone is posting something very serious, then I might post something comical, and or vice versa. Something just a little bit different that they could stop, that they could look at, they could maybe read, and maybe that they could enjoy just for a moment. And when I look at my success, I wouldn't say it's because I'm necessarily the most creative cook in the world, but I do attribute it to thinking differently. And so I noticed that when everyone's thinking one way, I always try to think a little bit abstract and say, well, if they're all going that way, then I should see what's going on over here. Because if they're all making the same sound, if I make a different sound, it's going to get noticed. And sometimes that's what you're trying to do in a competitive world. Maybe not always a complete 180, but I do like to look at things from different perspectives and understand that if you want to get recognized in a group, you do have to stand out a little bit, and you do have to think outside of the box and be, in this case, you have to be the exception to the rule.